welcome, bloody welcome to the show, which is called
Sunday Chat.
That's right. And today is the solstice. Oh, winter solstice, but more on that later. Coming up later on Richard and Paul. Do you know all the verses to Away in a Manger? No, neither do I. Goodbye. Not really.
But,
We're talking about all of those kind of things later on, Paul. I just said that. Let's get the book out.
I get quite excited sometimes.
About what?
Well, about sort of Christmas carols and trying to remember the words and things.
So we're going to talk about that later.
I have to wait.
So, first of all, thank you, bloody thank you, to several of you for being lovely. We'd like to say a big thank you to Sue and Nancy, who are two of our coffee supporters. We'd also like to thank all of our coffee supporters, but in particular, Nancy and Sue, for your lovely gifts. Thank you so much. We'd also like to say thank you to Linda.
Yes.
For sending the beautiful Sicilian olive oil.
Yeah,
Don't
fabulous.
be going making chips with that, Paul.
No, I'm not going to. That one's going to be kept for our salad dressings.
Well,
and,
don't keep
things
it.
like that.
We need to use it.
Well, we're going to be using it, and it came with a lovely little tag as well. So thank you, Linda, for the words on that. Yeah, absolutely
Put the tag
lovely.
on the floor because it ruins the symmetry.
So, Linda sent us some small olive oils, infused olive oils and infused balsamic vinegar, and I'm still using those. Absolutely lovely, yeah.
Yeah, but the Sicilian olive oil, I mean, that's one step away from being a medicine. Really, no, it is.
Well, it is.
It's extremely good. We keep banging on about olive oil.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of using olive oil for everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Extra virgin as well.
As long as you're not doing deep frying with it
you don't
at
want
very
to do that.
high temperatures, but sautéing.
Yeah.
All of that.
We use it for all of our cooking.
Yeah.
You've even used it in pastry and things like that. I have as well. And it's good if you're making doughboys, the dumplings for the top of stews and things. It's good for that as well.
Doughboys.
Doughboys.
They're called dumplings, Paul. I think you'll find here in England.
Well, I think you'll find in Guernsey, they're called doughboys.
I don't think they speak like that.
They don't speak like that in Guernsey.
Paul.
I know, but anyway, yes, they're called doughboys because they're dough. And they're buoys, i.e. buoyant, like you see the buoys, the fishing buoys in the sea.
So for those of you over the pond, that's a buoy.
A buoy.
Buoy.
Yeah. Not in Guernsey though. No, it's a buoy.
Not in the UK either. It's a buoy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'd also
Well,
like.
you don't say buoyant, do you? You don't say buoyant. Buoyant.
Don't even try speaking, Paul.
Well, you don't. You say buoyant. So, yeah.
Thank you. We'd also like to say a big thank you to Grace and Shanti. Thank you so much for the Christmas gift. It's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. So, welcome also to new subscribers. There have been a few. We've just got over 8,900 subscribers. How lovely. So that works out at a little over 1,000 subscribers per year.
Yeah. Yay!
Okay. A number of you asked or posed the question, why haven't you got more subscribers?
Because we're boring and dull. Yeah,
sorry.
That's it. Basically, people don't like what we do, apart from very, very cherished people and subscribers who do like what we do.
We have a core group of very loyal subscribers who have been with us since the beginning, which is absolutely great. We'd rather have regular viewers, regular views, rather than, hundreds of thousands of viewers and nobody watching. you know,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
does happen to some channels.
It does, yes. Basically, what you're saying is that we like being regular. So there we are.
We do.
Yeah.
I like being regular.
I like being regular.
Yeah, so
too.
there's nothing like being regular.
Nothing like it whatsoever.
I love it.
But it's also because YouTube doesn't know where to put us as well, because we're not a vlogging channel, we're not a cookery channel, we're not a sort of chatty
Gardening
home,
channel.
we're not a gardening channel. So their metrics go, oh, confused, don't know where to put you. And I think that really does, you know, affect how they promote us as well, how they suggest us. Why YouTube can't sort of see that there's a sort of magazine type channel here, which we talked about before. You know, it's lots of different things. I don't know, but it's, I guess in life, isn't it? Everyone, all companies and corporations want to take away our individuality and segment us into little cubicles of things so that they can say, oh, we'll give that to them and we'll give that to them. So, yeah, there we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about magazines, we mentioned the Radio and TV Times, didn't we?
Yes.
So Paul managed to pick up a Christmas TV guide, which isn't either of the Radio and TV Times. For how much, Paul?
It
The whopping
was
price of
£1.70.
And it's got everything in there.
Yeah, so this is the Your Christmas TV Guide.
Yeah.
I don't know who produces it. It's most probably one of the big newspapers or something. I don't know. And
How much was the Radio
I think
Times?
the Radio Times was £6.50, and the TV Times was £5.80 or something. £5.50.
We can cook a couple of meals for that.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
really.
So basically, we've spent soup for 16 people on a magazine so that I can go through and do a little bit of highlighting of stuff. So, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy going through. It did give me that
simple
sort of
pleasures, isn't it?
It is, and for simple people like me, simple pleasures are quite fun. So yeah, there's lots of really good viewing, and there's even more really crap viewing. But there we are. Yeah, I've circled what we're going to be recording so that we can watch.
Ah, lovely.
Terribly exciting.
Even more things to watch.
Well, we'll come on to that later, but we
We
have
will.
watched some things which, yeah, we both rather enjoyed.
So today, on Sunday when you're seeing this, is the winter solstice, which is the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, all due to the tilt of the earth.
Yeah.
So we're tilted furthest away from the sun at this time of year. So I think our days are about 7 hours
7
of
hours, yeah.
daylight, 7 or 8 hours of daylight, that's it. Boy, you really feel it at this time of year. But luckily, and we'll talk about this in a moment in Richard and Paul.
Warbaba.
We'll talk about that in a minute. In the weather report, it's cool and bright.
Yeah, it is. Yesterday was an absolutely glorious day.
I haven't said yet.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So, we normally kick off with Richard and Paul's weather report. What has the weather been like this week, Paul?
Well, of course, in the southern hemisphere, it's the other way around, isn't it? So they're having their longest day of the year, so it's getting... But yeah, the weather has been very changeable this week.
Changeable.
Very changeable.
That's
It's
French.
been relatively mild for much of the week. It's got really cold now again at night. We're hitting sort of 1 degree at the moment at night. Yeah. And we've had lots of rain. I think it was it Thursday or Wednesday we had really heavy rain. And then on Friday we had a gloriously sunny day, and I was down at the plot doing a few things. I was transplanting self-seeded seedlings of 2 flowers. So that's in a week at the plot. Really enjoyed that. Oh. And I just sat there enjoying the sunshine at the end of it as well. So that was great. Today is sunshine, but it's supposed to cloud over. And I think tomorrow, which is Sunday, is the solstice day, I think it's supposed to be cloudy, isn't it?
Yeah, and the solstice, remember, is not actually a day, it's a moment. It is a moment. And I believe that moment in the UK comes at 15:03.
Oh, there we are. There we are. That's where everything goes into reverse, isn't it?
Well, I think what tends to happen is the sun appears to kind of not get any higher for a few days and then is reborn at Christmas. Funny that.
Yeah, there we are.
So yes, weather is kind of getting a little bit more wintry, but we'll be looking at the weather a little bit more closely in a moment.
Ooh.
In fact, I think we're looking at that now.
What? Because it's next on your list?
It's on the list, Paul.
It's nothing like reading ahead on the list. Yeah.
I'm picking up this book, which is The Wrong Kind of Snow, the complete daily companion to the British weather, by Anthony Woodward and Robert Penn, gifted to us by Vivi Gregory of What Vivi Did Next and
Her Cottage.
Cottage in the Ocean
by the
sea. So, 21st of December, the shortest day, and here's a quote, "A truly black and dismal one." That was 1776. So, winter solstice, shortest day of the year. 7 hours and 50 minutes of daylight in London.
Well, there we are.
6 hours and 20 minutes in Wick.
Right.
And it's the time when the sun is the weakest. It's the turning point in the year and the traditional moment for winter celebration. 2 of the most important Neolithic monuments in the British Isles, Newgrange, which is over 5,000 years old, in County Meath, and Maze How in the Orkneys, are aligned so that the sunlight on the solstice illuminates the interior of a chambered cairn.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. It comes through as a slither.
Yeah, and it...
Sliver.
A sliver.
A sliver. Yeah, said
Not
the
a
wrong
sliver.
one. Not a slither.
A sliver is a snake.
A sliver.
A sliver is a slice.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was trying to think of the right word, so I didn't say the wrong word, and I said the wrong word. So yeah, there we are. Yeah, I've seen that on a documentary. But they also say now, don't they, that Stonehenge, there are many people who studied it that now believe that Stonehenge was actually built for the winter solstice and not the summer solstice.
Yeah, I'm coming on to that.
Oh, right.
That's why we can't have nice things.
First of all, it was the cats, and now it's me. Yeah.
Even... What?
Well, the cats, we couldn't have nice things because of the cats, because we'd put something on and they go boop, 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 smash. So we couldn't have nice things with the
cats
cats.
Destroyed all ornaments of any value.
Plants, put a plant there.
My 16-year-old bonsai killed in one fell swoop. Even Stonehenge. Even Stonehenge is now thought to be aligned for the winter rather than the summer solstice. Our prehistoric ancestors... Why can't I speak today? Our prehistoric ancestors worshipped the winter sun, as we do, of course, usually in Mallorca.
Usually Mallorca.
That's what it says. I'm reading from the book.
Does it?
That was a bit of... meant to be a bit of comedy, Paul.
I missed work.
So, highlights... So, it's so small I can't... So, the warmest temperature recorded on this day was the 15.5 degrees Celsius in Mackworth. Where on earth is Mackworth?
Don't know.
1971.
There we are.
And the lowest recorded was 1909, minus 15.6.
Good grief. That is a difference,
in
isn't it? I mean,
Mayfield,
literally.
which I think is Derbyshire. So there we are.
There we are. Yes,
Interesting.
Terribly interesting. Terribly interesting.
Très intéressant.
Trey's interesting.
Thank
you. Yeah.
How lovely. So, next in the book, we wanted to talk about too much information in general.
Yeah.
So we were watching a news programme and they were banging on, I think it was a local London programme, and they're banging on about there's so many children off with the flu at the moment, classes are down to 60% only, and it's only going to get worse. Children off sick with the...
Really?
Really? I mean, I don't know about you, but when we were kids, the school was always being closed for some reason.
Yeah, we would have odd days off where it was...
Well, odd days. I remember 2 weeks once when the heating system broke and nobody batted an eyelid. There was none of this, oh, the children are going to get behind with their learning. It's going to ruin their education. Banging on about it. If there is flu or some kind of infectious disease ripping through schools, just close the school for a few days. I mean, I know there are issues with childcare, I know, but if they're that concerned, even some children are even wearing masks in school. Look, we've had these drills before.
Yeah.
We've been through a pandemic. You know, people are wearing masks. Bring in mask wearing again for children if you're that concerned.
Yeah.
And actually, they were banging on about this flu issue a few weeks ago, saying it's going to be the worst flu ever. And they actually admitted that they'd gone a bit over the top with that.
And I think this is it with news things now. And also with weather forecasting as well. For the weather, I think for a different reason. I think for news, there's a requirement always to have some breaking news. You know, otter seen at Cobo Bay. You know, and it's breaking news, and it's like
it would be in Guernsey.
It would be in Guernsey, but you don't have to have breaking news all the time. You know, you can just have what's called news, which is what has gone on in the day, in the county that you live, in the country that you live, and around the world. But now there seems to be just a requirement with 24-hour news channels to have something new and have something new and have something new. And I find that many of the presenters, I think we're getting a bit sort of American in this, are now intonating and putting their own emotions and interest into things. And instead of just delivering the news in a very informative but non-judgmental way, they're emphasising certain words and certain phrases and things and giving that news a completely different spin, which we haven't really had in the UK up to about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Our newsreaders, particularly on the BBC and ITV and Channel 4, have always come across as just delivering news and being impartial.
Well, yeah.
Where now it seems we want to sensationalise everything.
But there's just too much stuff being said about things that really don't really matter. So what if there's flu in schools?
Yeah, report it, but then move on.
You don't need to start giving metrics and graphs and all of the... You know, there's been a flu outbreak. So what? We know that already.
Yeah,
and also stating the bleeding obvious half the time as well. They keep saying things like, well, it's the week before Christmas. We've all got calendars. We know.
Yeah.
Only a few days to go until Christmas. Really?
I've noticed headlines today in several different media in the UK talking about that all of the retailers are hoping that this panic buying weekend will be positive enough to lift their sales for the quarter. And I thought, hang on, why talk about panic buying weekend? Why should this weekend, other than consumerism, be panic buying? Why can't it just be, we're hoping that this pre-Christmas weekend is good for retailers? Let's just say that, because by using phrases like panic buying, you have people who go, oh yeah, I better do that. I better do, you know, it's a bit like when there's a fuel shortage. It's a bit like when there's a fuel shortage for cars and they say, oh, there's going to be a fuel shortage, but don't go panic buying, which we know is the trigger for everyone who's got a car, apart from us maybe, to rush to the local petrol station to fill up. So you then end up with a huge tailback at every petrol station. So there we are. I'm going to shut up now.
I don't know why you slapped me.
Because I thought you were looking at me.
Well, I was looking at you because I was listening to what you were saying. There was no need to assault me, Paul.
You were what?
I was listening to what you were saying.
Sorry, say that again?
No, I'm not saying it again. Thank you very much, Paul. Yeah, it's there's just too much information. People can see information about everything now.
Yeah.
And I think it's overload, it really is. And people have been saying this for years and years and years. You know, all this detail that they think people want. We don't need the detail. If we want to delve in, we do have the means to do that nowadays,
Yeah.
which is a positive. But I don't think everybody needs everything all of the time.
Absolutely.
Really?
I mean, the TVs and things had that red button. Do you remember?
Press
if you
the
want
red
to
button
know more
now.
about this, press the red button.
Yeah.
And you could do that. You know, if you want to know more
Does
about
the red
this
button
story,
still
click
exist?
here. It does, but it's mostly been sensationalised. Yes.
I don't really remember the red button ever working.
No, I don't think it
No.
did. I think it was delayed. You'd go, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll click on that. And then 10 minutes later, you got something up about ducklings, which was mostly much more interesting than the original thing anyway.
But we'll kind of be talking more about this and media a little bit later when we talk about what we've watched. Because there was a film that we watched which really sort of highlighted and resonated with the times now in terms of contrast, but we'll come on to that later. Coming up, I'm not going to put something in there.
What, you go fly in a banner or
No, I
something?
haven't learned how to do that yet.
I know, I need to learn how to do a few things.
I know we could make Sunday Chat all
Sunday Chat!
all singing and dancing with graphics coming up later, adverts at certain points. Oh, we do that anyway, don't we? Yeah. Okay. Lovely. So, Paul, you wanted to talk about For Earth's Sake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so...
Why, Paul? Why?
Well, For Earth's Sake is like a number of retailers taking a festive break. So we close before Christmas and then we open after the New Year. I mean, it's what happens.
Just before you continue, For Earth's Sake is the plastic-free shopping experience down in Shamley Green in Surrey, where Paul works.
Yeah, well, I go down there once a week or once a fortnight. I work from my desk at the top of the stairs. But yeah, I work for...
At the top of the
them.
stairs?
Well, it is at the top of the stairs. So yes, this week and the last 10 days has been about planning social media posts, about telling people, you know, when we're open, when we're closed, when we're reopening. And you need to make sure that you get phrasing right, because I've looked at many Christmas social media things from people who are closing and they say, we're closing. And you go, oh no, that's a shame. You were such a great shop. And
I'll shop elsewhere.
Yeah, and then you sort of read the bits and it says, oh, and we reopen on the 2nd of January or something. And it's like, oh no, I didn't think that. And actually there's something our local library, community library, which I love. I was looking at a post of theirs yesterday, which I thought was confusing as well. It basically says Saturday closed, and then underneath it said Tuesday open. And that confused me, but I do know what they actually meant. But yeah, so I've been planning that and doing social media posts, and obviously our mailing list, they've had that. You need to change things on the website, so I've been doing that as well. So it's just to sort of say it's interesting because you've got to change things on Facebook, your opening hours, on Instagram, your opening hours, all of those things need to change. And you'd think that they would be automated in some ways, and in some ways on Facebook they are, but on other things you need to actually put in the days that you are closed, or be clear about it. So yeah, and then on Monday, whilst Richard's at home making something lovely for supper for me, I'll be at For Her Sake with Vanessa, and we're doing a big stock take. We do that 3 times a year, so it's the big one this Christmas though. Yeah, it's always a big one.
Lovely, yeah. Paul, thank you. We also wanted to raise the subject of spam emails.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting loads, I'm getting loads. I keep getting these approaches from companies about products that they think will be a good fit for our channel. So I had one the other day. Hi, I'm Candy from Chunkawunku chainsaws or...
Cookware.
No, it wasn't cookware. Cookware, I'd be
Yeah,
interested in.
yeah.
Chainsaws, exercise machines. I emailed you 2 weeks ago and I've not had a response. We think our brand Chunkawunku exercise bike would be a great fit for your channel. Have you actually watched the channel? I don't think so. I keep getting loads of them, and they keep pestering me, wanting me to respond. Paul, what should I do?
Don't respond.
No, exactly. Don't respond. Delete, delete, delete.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they are of interest. They might be of interest, and then you need to do some research to see whether it's a valid, you look at the email address to see if it is actually a valid email address, or it's Gmail at the end or something, and it might not then be a valid. If a company is asking you about something or wants your input, most often they will have their own email address, their own domain.
Their own domain, yeah.
So you do need to check that out, and then you can go on and you can check that domain, making sure that you've got some type of internet safety thing, firewall and things like that, to make sure if you go onto a website it's not going to bombard your machine with lots of different things, antivirus. And do that checking first. You also need to be careful now, because in different languages the different letters have got different shapes, so you need to check the shape of the letter in something as well. Yeah, I mean, in different alphabets the letter has got a different shape, and it may be that shape that is used in a particular country and it's not used in the UK. So, be wary of that.
How am I going to know?
But I've been getting, I've said this before, I get things through regularly because I manage a number of different websites for different people, different organisations, or just their domain for their email. And I get emails through regularly saying, we've looked at your website and we could do this. But some of them have actually, they're doing what you've just said, I've emailed you 3 times. Just let me know whether you want to be contacted or not. Reply yes or no. Well, surely if I'm not replying to you, you get the message.
I just delete them.
Well, you do delete them, but you should, and then you realise, well, if they're not getting the message, it's most probably because it's AI
and they're
sending the emails, and it's all phishing. Yeah, of one sort or another, to draw you into a conversation. And of course, once they draw you into that conversation, who knows where they're going to take that route with you. So yeah, always be careful. If you don't know the email that's coming through, be wary. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. So it's time for the intellectual part of the show, taken from A Word for Every Day of the Year by Stephen Poole. gifted to me by Vai Grigori of what Vai did next. And
The
kitchen
household
cottage
in the water
house,
in the salty
which is now
bay.
in the tsunami. So, the word is furibund. Sounds rather saucy. Or furibund.
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 F-O-R-I-B-U-N-D.
Furibund. Furibund.
Furibund.
Any ideas, Paul?
Covered in lots of hair?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. In Ben Jonson's satirical play, The Poetaster, which was entered in the Stationer's Register on this day in 1601, the bombastic poetaster, bad poet, of the title Crispinus, becomes ill and vomits up a slew of obscure long words, balmy, froth, puffy, inflate, turgidus, and ventosity are come up, remarks one onlooker. Oh, terrible windy words, says a second. A sign of a windy brain, adds a third sagely. And then Crispinus pukes the line, oblatront, furibund, fatuate, strenuous. Oblatrant means railing or reviling, and was never seen again. But it is the pretty furibund that continued to have currency well into the late 19th century. From the Latin furere, to rage, and first written furibound in 1490, it means raging or simply furious.
Oh, right.
Well, it took a while to get there.
Yeah, so furious and furibund. I can see how those go together.
Well, you've got furore as well, haven't you?
You do, yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
There we are, yeah.
Or furore, as some people pronounce it. So, lovely, Paul. Thank you to me for reading that.
Self thanks.
So, final segment of the show, which is called What Have We Watched on Television This Week? So, what?
It's been quite...
quite Christmassy.
Quite Christmassy, but...
Quite Christmassy.
Quite a selection of different things as well.
So, we watched a programme called Christmas Television That We Loved and Lost on Channel 5, which was mainly all about those sort of variety shows, Morecambe and Wise, Generation Game, all of that kind of stuff that I think we've talked about before.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was kind of quite fun.
Very much our generation, very
Yeah.
sort of 70s
Yeah.
TV programmes really. So yeah, quite fun.
We watched a programme called Wham at the BBC, which was all about the band Wham, and that was presented by Andrew Ridgeley and Pepsi and Shirley.
Yeah.
Of Wham fame. And I don't know about you, but whenever I watch a programme on Wham or George Michael, it makes me feel incredibly sad.
Yeah, totally. And I usually cry, and I did cry a little bit. A few tears.
The loss of George Michael was so... I don't know, it affected a heck of a lot of people.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
It was such a shock.
I mean, when you think how young he was, really, comparatively to what he'd already delivered and what he could have gone on to deliver.
And also the charitable work that he did as well. He gave an awful lot to charity. didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Last Christmas, they were obviously hoping for a number one with Last Christmas, and then along came, was it Feed the World? Do They Know It's Christmas? Band-Aid with Do They Know It's Christmas? And, they lost the number one to Band-Aid, and they also gave the profits from Last Christmas to that cause as well. I mean, major income stream.
But I
so
think
number one and number two singles of that year, the money was going to good causes, and did for many years.
I think he's given quite a. He did give quite a lot away to other causes.
Absolutely,
as well, didn't he? And supported other causes. So, I mean, he had his issues. We all know that.
We all do.
But who doesn't?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was interesting to watch. Although I feel as though we'd seen it before.
I don't think we'd seen that one before, but I think we'd seen a different one.
There's been a few, haven't there? There's been a few programmes. Yeah. We continue with the Omega Factor, episode 2 on Talking Pictures, which is an interesting series to watch. Yeah, this one it's fiction. This one was about sort of paranormal happenings in a room and in a building, so that's quite interesting. We continue with Hammer House of Horror, and we watched Children of the Full Moon. It's a really good one, starring Diana Dawes, Christopher Cazenove, and it's the story of a couple who are going away for the weekend and break down in their car in the woods, go for a little walk, find a house, knock on the door, and ask to use the phone, and kind of end up staying the night. Because it's getting dark outside. Yeah. And they might lose their way going back to the car. Yeah, and let's just say it's not a good outcome for either of them. No, it's not. But it's actually, I think it's my favourite of the Hammer House. I adored Diana Dawes. Oh, yeah, she was brilliant. I met her once, and it was very, very brief, but I'd loved everything that she'd done, and I just loved Diana Dawes. And again, she was another person that died relatively young, and again, I think was a huge loss because she was a great, great talent. So yeah, it's one of my favourites, if not my favourite. It is a really good, and the structure of it is a classic horror. So you've got the scenes where he says, well, I'm just going to go back to the car, darling, and pick our things up. No, please don't go. And she's begging him not to go. No, please. And he goes anyway, out of the window and shinnies down the drain pipe, Yeah. And because they're locked in a room. It has all those moments where you're like, no, please don't do that. That's not what you do. But then you have to remember it's a horror film, and that's how horror films are structured, to make you feel that frustration. So that was fun. Love it. And of course, the Hammer House of Horror, they were all to fit an hour of viewing in the UK. So they're not, even though they're very filmic, they're not full films. They're relatively short. Yeah, really good one. Diana Dawes, bless her. Love her. Gosh, and we forget Diana Dawes was a sex symbol. Absolutely. She was kind of like the English Marilyn Monroe, Very beautiful, very sexy, and actually had a sort of resurgence, didn't she? Her career kind of took off again and was really boosted by starring in Adam Ant's video, Prince Charming, as the fairy godmother. Brilliant. We watched 2 Christmas themed programmes by Lucy Worsley. Christmas Carol Odyssey. Odyssey, that's it. Couldn't read my own writing. And this was looking at the Christmas carols that we all know so well. Do we? And, well, that we think we know really well. We might just know the first verse of them. And where they had come from and who had written them and the history of them and how they had developed. And it was interesting on a historical front because of what was
said. It was also interesting for us because in one of them, right at the beginning, Hook Eagle Morris appeared. And Hook Eagle Morris do the wassailing and the Midsummer Revels at Fursake and the Great Green Barn. So we'll be having them on the 25th of January to do a wassail in the Young Heritage Orchard at Fursake. So it was really nice to see them involved. And we both, they are blued up. Their faces, when you see them, are blued up. They weren't in this programme. I think for just reasons that it's much easier to see
as well.
And we were going, is that? I think that's. Yeah, that's. And it was like, yeah, that's Hook Eagle Morris, and then it was mentioned later.
That's Hook, H-O-O-K, Eagle Morris Dancers. So if you want to look them up, they're on Facebook. So Paul, tell me, what is your favourite Christmas carol? What is it, Paul?
Most probably. Well, I like the sort of. I like so many of them, really. I like Hark the Herald Angels Sing, but I also like the Holly and the Ivy.
Oh, Holly and the Ivy.
Yeah. Away in a Manger is nice, sort of, I like the melody, but I don't really like Away in a Manger that much.
Oh, Away in a Manger. Away in a mangy old crib for a bed.
So yeah, we were sort of saying, it's interesting because these things are resonant in many of us, these carols, and they only get sung at Christmas usually. Some of the music or refrains are used in other things throughout the year, but we've only heard them as kids growing up, and we've sung them at Christmas, at carol services and all of that. But they really sort of get to your core. And of course that's their intention, to do that.
Well, they only do that
to
because
grab
of
you
the
emotionally.
familiarity.
I know.
And the connection that those songs have to childhood.
Yeah.
That's why they get people. And, I think they're rather pretty and beautiful, but many of them have this sort of deep sadness to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was one of those songs on the other programme that we watched, which was talking about the loss of children. Because, of course, the other programme that we watched was Lucy Worsley's Tudor Christmas.
Merry Tudor
Christmas, which I think in the States is being marketed as Tudor 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah.
But one of the lullabies, and it was a lullaby, was all about child loss, because that was something that happened an awful lot. And there's a misconception that people were used to it. They weren't. They were deeply, deeply affected. There was a lot of trauma and grief around child loss. That was really interesting to watch that one as well.
But the element around Christmas, why it's a Christmas one, is because of Herod and what he did. It's quite. It was interesting to go through that history.
There were sort of
piece.
dual meanings to this song. The Christmas theme, the killing of the newborn by Herod. Linking with the loss of children in general in society.
Yeah, quite fascinating.
Yeah, so that one's a good one as well.
And also there was a song written by Henry VIII, King Henry VIII, which was interesting.
That was in the Tudor Christmas one.
In the Tudor Christmas, again, it was about Holly and the Ivy.
The thing I didn't get, though, about that was, why is was it the 12th day celebrating the three wise men?
Yeah.
Why is that on the 12th day? Because I thought the three wise men visited Jesus in the manger.
Yeah, well, you're still in the manger on the 12th day.
Were they there for that long?
Yeah,
in a little shed for 12 days, having just given birth to a baby?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I think they were, because they had to go there and do their signing up of their, census thing, didn't they? So that took
For
time.
12 days?
And then she gave birth, and it wasn't like, oh, you can go home now, So and they were relatively warm, and the donkeys were nice. So why not stay a little bit longer?
Well, the cattle were lowing.
They were.
Yes,
They were lowing.
and the baby Jesus didn't cry. I often think that's a way of guilt-tripping parents into thinking their babies are bad.
I think there's a lot of guilt tripping that goes on in all of those
Look
stories.
at Jesus. The cattle were lowing. The baby didn't awake.
Yeah.
What kind of mother are you?
Yeah.
There's
Well, he
no
was
cattle in his
swaddled,
bedroom.
wasn't he? So most probably couldn't hear them.
They were all swaddled,
like-
a bit like my Tudor baby. Some of you may not know about the Tudor baby dream that I had.
Oh, dear.
I had a dream about I was looking after a Tudor baby in Tudor times.
Yeah.
It was like I was transported back in time.
Yeah.
Oh no, seriously, it was so vivid. And I remember thinking, where are the disposable nappies?
I don't think they'd have
Where's
been
the
there.
formula? What am I supposed to do with this baby?
I hope she had washing facilities,
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there was mind you can't use a buyer, can you? Because that's what
What?
A trough for water and things, because that's what the cattle are having their water from and things. So
In
maybe-
Tudor times...
No, we're going back to
you're
baby
talking about
cheeses.
baby
cheeses. Yeah.
That's right. So, sticking on the Christmas theme, we watched an old Victoria Wood
Oh, we did.
from the year 2000, Victoria Wood and All the Trimmings, which is one of our favourite sketch shows that she did.
Famous one of our favourite Christmas shows, full stop.
Yeah, with a huge range of stars from
Major
the UK.
stars. Yeah.
Taking part in a variety of different Christmas-themed sketches.
And Delia Smith being a revelation. Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, so that's well worth a watch if you enjoy Victoria Wood and her genius. Frankly, that woman, that was another
one.
Great loss.
Another one.
Huge loss. We had a run, didn't we, of a few
Yeah,
years.
there were.
We lost our friend, and then the year after it was George Michael, and then Victoria Wood, and we had a run of people losing people.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Dad was in that mix as well.
Yeah. Another Christmas one that we watched was Christmas Treasures of the National Trust, which followed a number of properties and their Christmas preparations for displaying the properties at Christmas time. Yeah, it was okay. All I saw really was
a lot of money
being spent on probably things that weren't really necessary, other than the garland at that.
That garland.
The garland was beautiful. I can't remember the name of the property, but they put together a beautiful Christmas garland which is constructed of greenery and dried flowers from the summer.
Or flowers that have dried from the summer.
Yeah. And this garland is, it's enormous. It's
60
suspended
foot.
from the ceiling. And absolutely beautiful. It's traditional. There's a lot of volunteer work happening with that. So you can kind of let them get away with that. But I was looking at the materials that they were using to make all those decorations. Again, groups of volunteers getting involved. But those materials themselves must have cost hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
What, the wire and things?
The paper that they were using to make the garlands,
for
the
the
hats,
garlands. Yeah.
various things, hundreds of quid.
Yeah, I do wonder about, obviously they're putting on a show, if the house is open at Christmas for a particular reason, and they want the income, then, they need to spend to do that. But I did wonder about the hats and the paper garlands, because these were huge paper garlands. They weren't like the ones that we used to lick and loop and
stick.
They weren't like those. These were sort of like the actual, each loop of garland was about 2 foot. It was interesting. I thought the garland in the house, the natural garland, which was 60 foot long, when they put it up without the flowers, it weighed 20 stone, I think, to put the whole thing up. And then they put, how many was it? 7,800 individual flowers went into this garland.
No, it was 37,000.
37,800, 38,000 went into this garland. And it did look rather fabulous. Yeah, I've seen it before, because they do it each year. It's fresh each year. I've seen it before in photos, but I've never seen it. I've seen it before, but not as a video. Yeah.
So you've seen it before then?
I've seen it before, yeah. So when it came on, I thought,
You've seen
I've seen that before,
yeah.
but not the story behind it.
Yeah,
so
all right.
It started in the 1950s and has been an annual thing since.
And then finally we watched the film Scandal.
Yeah.
Which is the story of the Profumo affair, which happened in 1963. And it's one of our favourite films. We really enjoy it because it's really beautifully shot. There's some lovely cinematography happen in that. And it's quite saucy in places. But for those of you who don't know anything about the Profumo affair, this is about John Profumo, who was the war minister at the time. Or the defence minister, I can't remember.
No, it was
war minister.
Yeah.
And why we had a war minister? Why do we have a war minister?
Well, we don't now. We have Minister of Defence, unlike in America, which has gone back to it. But it was a war minister because they were still doing the mopping up of the Second World War, so it's post-war. Yeah.
And he got involved basically with a girl called Christine Keeler, who
a showgirl.
A showgirl, yeah. She was an actress and did quite a number of saucy shows along with her friend Mandy Rice Davis at a club in London, which was frequented by the
wealthy and charitable people.
Yeah, and basically through Stephen Ward, who was a osteopath, Christine Keeler got to know several people in the cabinet, and including John Profumo and others, plus a Russian
who was a spy.
And this all got a little bit complicated and ended up getting into the news, basically, when things started to go wrong.
Yeah.
And we're looking at this movie, and it is classed as a docudrama, so I think the events are quite accurate to what happened.
Yeah.
And looking at it through the lens of modern times, it's really interesting. It's a very interesting film to start to analyse. It leaves you with lots of different perspectives and thoughts on society in the 60s. For example, nowadays it seems that there's some kind of scandal occurring every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Therefore, people don't seem to bat an eyelid.
Yeah, it's like,
really.
Not again. Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of like, whatever, kiss and tell. Some MP had an affair with somebody else. The difference was that this affair kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back and brought down the government.
Yeah.
Basically.
Brought down the Conservative government.
Yeah. It was one of many scandals that occurred, and they fell out of power, basically. And it was really interesting to see the media frenzy and how the different characters responded to those situations. So you've got Mandy Rice Davis, who lapped it up.
Yeah.
And went on to be a successful businesswoman. But then you've got Christine Keeler, who is basically framed as being a prostitute and jailed, going from being very excitable and carefree as an 18-year-old to being, frankly, really frightened at the attention.
I think you said something interesting, which was that really Mandy Rice Davies knew what she wanted and what she wanted to get out of a situation, and was sort of some maybe therefore prepared for what was happening. Where Christine Keeler, certainly when you look at the film and you know have a bit of knowledge behind that as well, she feels quite a tragic figure in many ways, because I think she was looking for love and ended up being abused basically by not only by individuals but by society as well in how she was treated.
It's also a comment on power, because you've got these different sectors of society that you see in the film. So you've got the seedy side of nightclubs in terms of the rich. You've got the seedy side of nightclubs in terms of ordinary people, and how those two sort of meet because of Stephen Ward. And you've got people wanting to have some power, like Mandy Rice Davies, wanting to grab her slice of the cake. You've got Christine Keeler sort of dipping her toe into selling her story, because she's kind of the one that was responsible for breaking it all open. But then you've got the people in power being very, very afraid of losing their power. So it makes you question, what is power and what does it mean in different levels of society? You know, what are you going to, who's going to lose the most? And actually the person that did lose the most was Stephen Ward. Because he was deserted by all of his friends who were in power. Basically lost his business, and was pushed into a corner and took his own life.
And
you know, which is very sad, but you can kind of see how that was set up to happen.
And then you look at the powerful elite and how they are seen in the film and in reality to be covering things up and wanting to make sure that people are taken out of the equation, as that saying goes, so that they cannot say things. And then you look at the release of the Epstein files and all of that going on. And again, you know, why do we need the release of files when in the Epstein case there's many, many women who are standing up telling us exactly what happened? We seem to be ignoring truth and wanting to cover things up again. Even in the release, you know, we know now that the Epstein files are going to take weeks to be released and will be redacted. And if you do a certain search for a certain person, nothing comes up, which is very interesting.
But it is interesting, isn't it? Because you do wonder, going back to Scandal and Christine Keeler and the Profumo affair, you do wonder how many other things went on.
Absolutely.
With girls and women being taken advantage of. I mean, it kind of worked both ways, because the girls took advantage of the situation as well. But how many other people has that happened to? You know, in those times, in the 60s, 50s and 60s, that didn't come to light, that were successfully covered up.
Hushed up.
You know, because the elite did not want you to know how they got their fun. You know, and there's another parallel with the whole drugs thing and the seedy side of London for ordinary people, you know, trying to get hold of drugs and, you know, how sort of dangerous that was at that time, or considered dangerous and very dark, and secret and all of that. But actually within the society itself, it was very open. So there were some parallels with things being hidden, things being kept under wraps. What if that comes out? You know, what are people going to think of those people? how debauched, how terrible. But the other interesting thing that happens, there is a very fleeting moment in the courtroom where Christine is being observed by the public, and there is a woman who is looking at Christine and she smooths her hair, and it kind of says that Christine Keeler became an icon. Many women wanted to be her. There was a lure of excitement and danger around Christine Keeler, which was very appealing to some people. So there's so many things going on in this movie that bring up all these questions, all these thoughts. Such an interesting film.
And as we know, all of that is still going on in the background of our society today.
Yeah, the
with
parallels.
Lots of cover-ups going on, lots of things being hushed. And of course then there was a lot more different media outlets that were independent. Now, of course, we have very few media independent companies in the UK and other countries and around the world. Many of them are owned by multi-millionaires, if not billionaires, who control what we are offered to read. Then media was much more independent. Today, the media is actually controlled. If you control the media, 1984, if you control that, you control the people.
But of course, what we consider to be scandalous nowadays, like I said at the beginning, it is very different to what was considered a scandal back then, you know. Nowadays, I think we would just go, oh, okay, whatever, you know. I think the difference nowadays is we tend to think about the victims in a very different way than we did then. Christine Keeler and Mandy Rice Davis were not viewed as victims back then.
No.
They were viewed as perpetrators, harlots and whores, basically. Whereas nowadays, we obviously don't take that view. We're trying to protect...
Rightly don't take
exactly.
that view.
We're trying to protect the victims. So there's a big difference how we view people caught up in those kind of circumstances nowadays.
Well, it's interesting you say we try to protect the victims. Society and people should protect victims, but as we know, there are many others who are still hiding it and not protecting those victims, and are calling journalists piggy or stupid or whatever. So there are those people who do the right thing, and there are those people who don't. Life doesn't change.
No, but perspectives do, and also the availability of information as well it's very different nowadays.
But again, it's also controlled information.
But there are parallels, aren't there? Along the way, there are definite parallels. So that's it. All that remains for us to say is have a very, very happy Christmas and a wonderful sparkling New Year. On behalf of my husband and I...
We're not married.
Just pretend.
Oh.
We'd like to extend very, very happy seasonal greetings for everyone and everybody, young and old, around the world and the Commonwealth. Thank you.
And outside of the Commonwealth.
Around the world, everywhere. And beyond the solar system and beyond, all alien species have a very, very happy Christmas as well. To you and yours, wherever you may be, in the universe and multiple parallel realities.
And if you haven't seen Richard's full-blown version of the Queen, you should.
What?
But you did it years ago.
Oh, that's ancient history now.
It's ancient history,
but
rather fab.
You don't want to start grubbing around into our back catalogue and finding old videos of me doing silly things.
No, please do.
No, you
please
don't.
Do.
Don't
no, please
do it.
Do.
It's
please
dangerous.
Do. Yeah.
It might be too shocking for you. Back in the days where I used to wear makeup. on a regular
Yeah,
basis.
you did.
Yeah.
You did. Yeah.
Yeah, can't be bothered now. Can't be asked.
Can't be asked.
CBA
syndrome.
So that's it. Have a great time if you're celebrating. If you're not celebrating and having a quiet time.
Have a great time.
And you want some company, we're going to be popping up throughout the week. So just keep your eye out. There may even be an impromptu live.
Might there?
There will be a live anyway next Friday.
Yeah.
Paul might join me if he's feeling up to it, Paul. So have an enjoyable festive week, because it's just a week.
Yeah.
It'll be over within a flash. We'll see you soon. We'll see. We're tying up now, Paul. Shush.
I was doing Flash. Yeah.
Thank you. Take care. Toodle pip. Au revoir.
Have a good one or have a quiet one.
Yeah, all right. We've said all of that now. We're moving on.
I
Say
haven't
goodbye.
said it. I was saying my bit as well.
Say goodbye now, Paul.
Bye now, Paul. Bye.
Hope you
Bye.
enjoyed it.
Is there anyone still there, actually?
Yeah, they've all gone now.